What's up, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I'll be sharing a few signs to look for that indicate your spouse may be thinking about asking for a divorce. So if you're worried about the state of your marriage, then it'll be worth your time to watch this video to the end to ensure that you know how to avoid this from happening to your relationship. My name is Brad Browning, by the way. Some people call me the marriage guy because of my Mend the Marriage program, which is a best-selling guide to preventing divorce and rebuilding a loving and lasting marriage. For more marriage-saving tips or to learn about my program, please visit my website at marriageguy.com. Now let's dive straight into the first sign that may indicate your spouse is considering divorce. First one is pretty obvious. Sign number 1, arguing over everything and anything. Yes, it's no secret that an increase in the frequency and intensity of arguments with your partner is a clear indication that all is not well with your marriage. Now, don't panic just because you and your spouse are fighting, a few times a week. Every married couple will disagree and have conflicts from time to time, and it's actually a healthy thing to argue now and then, as long as they lead to resolutions or don't leave lingering hard feelings. When those arguments become daily occurrences and tend to arise over almost anything, then that's when things get a little more dicey. For example, if arriving 5 minutes late for a dinner date turns into a massive screaming match and results in both of you going to bed angry for the third time in a week, then that's a problem. And these kinds of arguments, if they do happen frequently and tend to blow small grievances or disagreements way out of proportion, that can indicate that your marriage is certainly headed in the wrong direction. Most of the time, couples who argue too often but have otherwise healthy marriages can repair this problem relatively easily. In simple terms, if you and your spouse fight too much or argue often over small issues, you need to learn how to prevent the useless arguments and have more important disagreements end in a manner that's civilized and constructive. I've got some tips on how to do that in the video on my website, marriageguy.com, so head over there after this video if you want to learn more about arguing more effectively with your spouse. Now, another potentially more serious indication of an unhealthy marriage is when one or both of you stops trying to resolve conflict at all, which leads me to the next point. Sign number 2, no longer being willing to resolve conflict or find solutions. So if your partner seems to no longer care about the outcome of a fight, or if they seem to feel as though trying to find a solution to your problems is pointless or hopeless, then that can be a clear indication of deeper troubles. When this kind of despair sets in, your partner may withdraw further and feel as though there will never be a way for the two of you to live together in peace. And obviously that's not a good thing, and it's something that you need to work on if this has become a problem in your marriage. Sign number 3, lack of an emotional connection and withdrawal of affection. If your spouse has become distant and stopped showing affection towards you, that can also be a very strong indication that they're mentally checking out of the marriage. Often associated with this is an overall lack of an emotional connection and a lack of willingness to discuss or show feelings and emotions. In my experience, this is one of the most obvious signs that a marriage is headed in the wrong direction. Usually, though, it's more a symptom than a root problem or cause, and resolving the core issues of your marriage can usually help to rebuild the emotional connection and lead your spouse to begin showing affection again. If you're seeing this symptom as well as some of the others on this list, start taking action to stop the degradation of your marriage. Please watch the full free video on my website, marriageguy.com, for some tips on how to turn the tides and hopefully rebuild a stronger marriage together. Sign number 4, rarely or never having sex. Sex can be a symptom of other problems in your marriage. If you're always fighting and there's no emotional connection, then the sex is going to disappear as well. But it can also be a problem of its own, and it can lead to a marriage crisis, whether it's caused by fading attraction or a low sex drive. Either way, a sexless marriage is almost always a marriage on a fast track to divorce. So if your spouse seems uninterested in sex or makes excuses, that's a clear indication of problems. Sign number 5, your spouse is absent more often or seems preoccupied. If your partner's staying out late more often and showing less interest in family and spending time together, then that may be an indication that they're unhappy with the situation at home. It may also be that they're preparing mentally for life apart or life after your marriage, building a social life, or possibly even dating. Now, hopefully that's not the case, and don't prematurely accuse your spouse of this just because they're home less often, but it is a possibility. Simply put, if you're spending less time with your spouse than you have in the past, or if he or she seems distant and preoccupied when you are spending time together, then that can be a clear sign of a spouse who's mentally struggling with the decision to end a marriage. Okay, that's 5 signs that suggest your spouse may want to separate or get divorced. Now, just because your partner is exhibiting a couple of the behaviors that I just talked about, doesn't mean they're definitely planning to file for divorce. It may simply be that these are indicators of trouble ahead in your marriage. But if you have seen several of these indicators in your spouse recently, and you're feeling that things aren't really on track with your marriage, I encourage you to act now to turn things around before matters get any worse. I offer a personal coaching service if you need some additional guidance in interpreting your spouse's behaviors or building a plan to rebuild the emotional connection with your partner. You can see my current availability and sign up for my coaching program at marriageguy.com/coaching. And as always, thanks so much for your likes and subscribes. I really appreciate your support here on my YouTube channel. Thanks also for sharing your feedback and questions in the comments section below. As usual, I'll do my best to respond to any comments below the video. That's it for now. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.